Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport and some more members only content just for the select few who are badass enough to support this channel monetarily. In this month's members only content, we'll be doing something current for a change. We are looking at the 2025 Bathurst 12-hour race. That is actually happening as we speak, or at least practice and qualifying are right now. 22 entries will be racing around Mount Panorama. I'll be giving a rating to each of their liveries, with F being the worst and S being the absolute best. I have done other member-only videos you can check out on liveries from the BTCC, F1, International F3000, Le Mans, and more. So thank you very much for supporting me and the Frontrunner Motorsport channel. You are a top fromie. Let's jump into the video. KTM Vantage Racing, the only entrant in the Invitational class, a single KTM Expo GT2 for David Crampton, Trent Harrison and Glenn Wood. Hopefully KTM as a company are in a better place than they were a month ago, and guaranteed class victory will obviously make a huge amount of difference to everyone who works for the KTM company. The livery on the KTM I would call McLaren inspired, with orange and blue in a kind of extreme spiky livery. KTM are a team that would probably use extreme in their marketing, so I guess that fits. Considering this car has failed to get on the grid in the last couple of years, and it has no competition in this class, looking good is one of two objectives, the other being to make it to the end of the 12 hours with as little trouble as possible. It's a cool livery, so it's a solid B to start. Method Motorsport. Whilst in the GT4 class we have a massive field of free cars, Method Motorsport have two of those, fielding a pair of McLaren Artura GT4 cars. Similar liveries on each car, one of which is another official McLaren adjacent livery. It has been done much worse on the actual McLaren than it has been on the KTM. Orange, black and white with orange dots fading from the front of the car into the white. That would have been fine if not for another slab of black on the rear flank. Livery is too busy, too many elements, have the white or the black, not both. The other car is the same but blue instead of orange. The blue livery works a little better, but it's still not great. I am being kind when I say the blue livery is a D and the orange livery is an E. They could both easily be an F. Team 19. The only other GT4 car is the Mercedes AMG for Team 19, and probably the clear winner of this class. Daniel Bielski, Adam Christodoulou and Mark Griffith are back to defend last year's GT4 victory. The car looks very similar to last year. The car is quite a bright shade of red, with a square yellow sticker on the side. That yellow sticker, with a few smaller decals spread out around the car, make it look really cheap. It looks like a livery I would make on a racing game if I was only half-arsing it. It's an F, the worst of a lackluster looking GT4 class. Grove Racing. Onto the main class of GT3 cars, and of the 18 entries, 7 of them are Mercedes, by far the most of any manufacturer. The first of 7 we are going to look at is the Grove Racing entry, with brothers Brenton and Stephen Grove, joined by Fabian Schiller. A fantastic looking black and red livery, with even the Grove sponsor fitting into the livery nicely. It's been left clear of other sponsors' logos, so the whole thing looks nice and clean, with the cherry on top of the rather pleasant looking cake being the red grills on the front and on each side of the bonnet. But if there is one thing I have to question, it's the grey geometric shapes. They aren't overly visible, but that just makes me question why they have to be there at all. It drops this livery from an S to a still respectable A. Heart of Racing by SPS. I always associate Heart of Racing with Aston Martin, and in fact they are running the Aston Martin Valkyrie program we are going to see in the IMSA and WEC in 2025. But for the Bathurst 12 hours, they are running a Mercedes. I feel very conflicted by this livery. I like the black bonnet with the yellow trim, but I'm not sold on the blue chessboard pattern along the majority of the car. For me, the two shades of blue are too similar, and that's a shame because a check pattern can be a glorious thing, like every Croatian national football shirt ever. This would be a D, if not for one little detail I really like. A blue ring around the Mercedes badge. Mercedes will always suffer in these because, to me, their cars are ugly as sin, and it needs to be a really good livery to make them look good, but little details like that raise this to a C. Superbarn Tigani Motorsport. I think the Bathurst 12 hours is going to have to be called the race of the black and orange cars, because there are a lot of them. Here we have the Superbarn Mercedes, all black with orange trim, It wouldn't be too bad, but they've gone overboard with the orange, and the random slash on the side looks terrible. Same on the back, it looks alright, but the orange bar around the base of the boot just spoils the whole thing. I've seen better, it's an E. 75 Express. Kenny Habble's driving for his own team, and he's brought Jules Gounon and Lucas Stoltz. If I had to pick a winner, it would be this trio. On the livery front though, this is the typical Kenny Habble livery. It looks like a 10-year-old designed it on some old flash game from Newgrounds.com. A rusty orange colour with flames on the front and back with bits of blue on the side. Sponsored by an energy drink company I've never heard of. And that's why it's a B. This is a very fun livery, a Hot Wheels kind of look. It's the sort of livery you usually see at Macau, which is made up of rich amateurs who have a sense of fun, as opposed to professional manufacturers who do not. It's not perfect, but it's worthy of an A. Team Craft Bamboo Racing. This team has come a long way since running Harry Volkard in the 2009 British Touring Car Championship. Their livery hasn't changed much, and the same colour scheme on that Chevrolet 16 years ago looks awfully similar to this Mercedes. I hate this livery. It's just very random, just bits of green placed here, some black there on a dull right frame, and a random sponsor logo that doesn't fit this livery at all. For some reason, this printer company, Colour Spec, has the NASCAR logo as its branding. It's just a terrible livery. I'll give it an E, just because no one in the field has a similar livery, thankfully. Scott Taylor Motorsport. Well, this car stands out. That's a bright shade of green. Looks like it should be sponsored by Monster Energy. Something about this car makes it look like a NASCAR. I think it's the large numbers on the side. 3 supercars drivers with 125 wins between them. Craig Lowndes did win 110 of those, but Cam Walters and Tom Randall still make this a strong Aussie lineup. I do like this livery, except for red square, sponsor logo on the bonnet, which spoils the whole thing, but it's good enough for a C. Team GMR. Thank God it's the final Mercedes, and I have saved the best for last. Team GMR have gone for a television interference test pattern livery, and it looks really, really cool. Makes me nostalgic for the 90s when you would see this thing come up a lot. It's a colourful livery, it stands out, it's an interesting theme. This one is an S, and I have little else to say about it. Hallmark Racing. Moving on to the first of 3 Audis with the Hallmark Racing entry. The Hallmark Audi has been around for a while, and always looks basically the same. A very business-like red and black livery we have seen a million times all over the world. It's so boring to look at. I'm falling asleep whilst thinking about it. D. Gaia Valmont Racing. If the Hallmark Racing Audi is boring and business-like, then the Gaia Valmont Audi is the complete opposite. It looks like a 90s tracksuit. A wonderful blend of colours and patterns. It's got a lot going for it. I think the colours are slightly too pale, and if they were a bit punchier, then this would be a class livery for the ages. It's a fun livery, a little bit messy and all over the place, but fun goes a long way in my books. It's a B for Gaia Valmont. Jamek Racing, and back to boring business-like Audis, although this one has a bit more historical relevance, as it looks like a lot of Audis of old, a lot like its old touring cars or the early LMP1 cars specifically. I imagine that was on purpose, but it's a shame they didn't go the whole way and incorporate the 4-ring Audi logo. I really don't like the font used for the Jamek Racing logo on the side. It's not great. I don't like the old Audi liveries anyway. This cheap imitation is not doing itself any favours. It's an E. Arise Racing GT. 2 Ferraris for Arise Racing GT. As far as I can tell, both Ferrari 296 GT3 cars are the same, except a different colour trim on the splitter and side skirts. Classic racing Ferrari colours of red and yellow, reminiscent of the Ferrari 499P in the World Endurance car, a car that won my 2023 award for best livery. These cars are a lot busier with sponsor logos, so they're not quite as perfect as the WEC cars. Absolutely nothing wrong with ripping off a great livery though, so I'll give the Arise Ferraris an A. Team WRT. As for Team WRT, who have brought their A team for this, 6 very experienced GT drivers, well, 5 in Valentino Rossi, 2 classic BMW liveries for this one, a white and black version of the same livery, classic BMW colours. They both look okay. I prefer the Shell Helix car from last year, and there are other great BMW liveries from the past they could have gone for, but these I would class as just okay. A very sensible C for the Beamers. The Bend Manthey EMA. The first of 2 Porsches come to us from the immensely successful Manthey team, fresh off their success in the World Endurance Championship last year. They also won the Bathurst 12-hour race in 2024. This isn't strictly a monthly entry being run by the Bend Motorsport Park and Shell. It has the Shell colours, but it looks really sparse. Too much white and not enough red and yellow. I do like the layout of the Bend Motorsport track on the bonnet, but this is not a good livery. It's a D. Absolute Racing, the best livery in the field. Gold and black with an artsy kangaroo on the side. That ticks every box. I love the shade of gold. The fact the kangaroo is really aggressive looking, like it's about to pounce on someone and punch the shit out of them. There's nothing about this I don't like. Even the Spark sponsor logo on the bonnet isn't too distracting. It's an S. Wall of Racing. We have seen this exact Lamborghini Huracan livery in the Bathurst before, and I hate it. It looks like a magic eye picture, but if you stare at it too long, then you just go blind instead of seeing a fun image of a boat or something. I really think Lamborghini should sue for damages. It's an accomplishment to make one of their cars hard to look at. It's an F for ruining a Lamborghini. Volante Rosso Motorsport. Our final car is the Volante Rosso Motorsport Aston Martin Vantage AMR GT3, painted in the historic Golf Racing colours, but with black sides with Ariane sponsorship, and it's a great looking car. The classic Golf colours are always welcome on my grid, and are absolutely iconic, but even blended with a second sponsor, it's been done really well. Neither one impacts the other, and the whole thing looks really classy. It's another S, a great way to end a very colourful grid. So they are all the liveries taking part in the Bathurst 12 hours, a fine selection of liveries you can see right now as the race is on just as I'm writing this. Let me know your favourite Bathurst livery in the comments below and what classic livery reviews you want to see in the future. Thank you again for supporting the channel and have a good one.